Pop-up video.
Welcome to A-List Country, our interview series. Today we have country superstar and rock star Dan Davidson. Thank you.
I like that intro.
I know.
I'll take that all day long. Feels good for my ego. Thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure to chat with you, as always.
All right. So, your new single, Buckle Rubbin, is your first release on your new label. What does this track mean to you? And, especially where it's the first one on your new label.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, it's a long go, both from the label side of things and just from a personal standpoint, because, the label, we've been talking about doing this for well over a year. This kind of stuff doesn't happen very easily. It takes a lot of figuring out on who's doing what and how, what even the things are that need to be done. And then there's legal stuff and team members. So it's been a long time coming, and with the song, I wanted to wait to release the song until the label was set up. So I haven't really put out music in over a year. And, any artist will tell you that is like the ultimate, like, getting itchy feeling. Yeah, it always just feels like you're slipping if you don't have a new song out all the time. So I've been really chomping at the bit for this one and writing a lot too, and trying to make sure that I keep my circle as close as possible, because over the years you find your people, you find your 10 people that you're always going to get a good song with, and I really did stick to that core on this song. This song was inspired by actually something Clayton Bellamy said in passing. Like, he was just, I can't remember what we were even talking about, but like, he's from he's from Bonnyville, Alberta, so they say things like buckle rubbing out there, and and I had to write it down. It was just too perfect of a song title. So I wrote it down. I brought it into a session with my friends David Boris and Emma Lee. And, they're both very established writers in their own right. And we just kind of came up with this thing. Like, actually, we were writing a different song. And I was like, guys, what do you think of this term buckle rubbing? And they're like, we have to write that. So we wrote that. And it turned out to be this, like, kind of sassy, get drunk and fall in love song, which seems to be what I do.
I saw the dancers in the video, the preview of the video. Is there going to be a line? Yeah.
Oh, man. I found that making videos is so much better when you can hire people to make you look cooler. And so I've worked with Lena, this girl, Lena Anderson from Calgary. And she put together a team of these line dancers, the Rhinestone Cowgirls they're called. And they're all like Stampeders cheerleaders and just like competitive dancers from around town. And they're just incredible. Like, it's just, you don't realize how much athleticism goes into that stuff, but these girls could like kick a hole through a wall. They're so strong.
You spent over a decade as frontman and guitarist for rock band Tupelo Honey. What inspired the switch to country music? Yeah,
well, that's a question that I've fielded a couple times over the years, and it's always nice when people remember that was a band. That makes me feel good that people still remember that, because it was such a huge part of my life. Like, I started the band when I was probably not even 19 years old yet. And just with some guys around town that I knew, both from the Grant McEwen music program and just playing in bands in our little suburb called St. Albert, just outside of Edmonton. And it was just such a huge chapter of my life. Like, we very quickly we found ourselves playing these 5,000 person shows and at festivals, and all of a sudden we're opening up for Bon Jovi at Rexall Place and Saddle Dome, and it was just this whirlwind thing, and we had such a great ride doing it. And it came to a point where things were just harder. We'd fired a singer, and I'd taken over as lead vocals, and then other people, we just had other things popping up in our lives, and rock music was in a really hard spot. Like, it was just not a healthy thing. So I think we were ready for a bit of a change. A couple guys tried a few different things. One guy became a lawyer, and one guy opened a studio, and I went back to school, got a business degree, and then I just realized I wasn't ready to hang them up yet. And luckily, I put out a song and it went platinum, and here I am.
We are glad you didn't.
Yes. Me too.
You spoke about songwriting. You co-written with some amazing artists like Clayton and Travis. What do you look for in a co-writing partner, and like, how is that, dynamic working with them?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like speed dating sometimes. It's so strange, the co-writing thing, because especially if you go to Nashville, and I like going to Nashville, but I definitely encourage Canadians to not think that that's the only place you can write a great song.
Yeah.
So I go there. It's kind of like if I meet somebody new, you sit down, and it's so weird to just jump into like, here's some feelings, let's write a song.
Right.
I need to go for a walk or go get a coffee or do something so I can just like make some bad jokes and just see if the person is a human on the other side or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And living where I live, it's not like there's like a ton of, top level songwriters kicking around. So I've really learned to do the Zoom thing, and luckily you figure out your people pretty early on. And Clayton Bellamy was a guy that I don't know. We hit it off when he used to live closer to town. I called him on my very first Edmonton write, essentially for country, and I just said like, hey, let's write a song. I'll come over to your house and let's figure this out. And we wrote "Found" and "Barn Burner" on the same day. And then from there, we just we were fine on Zoom. In some days you get it, some days you don't. And if you can hit above 50% on your songwriting efforts, then you're doing good. And it's hard to remember that because sometimes you got to get out the bad ideas before you can get the good ones.
You performed across 8 countries, from China to Australia. What differences do you notice between fans in the different areas across the world?
Well, that's actually my favorite part of doing this whole thing is the people. You get to see how people react to different lyrics and songs and what the crowds are like, what they want out of a show. And it is such a cultural study. And in Canada, I don't think twice about it. And then we go to a place like the UK, for example. In the UK, they love country music, but they're more into the Americana side of it. That's really something that they lean into. So like the Stapletons of the world, the Zach Bryans, that kind of stuff does really well there. We played a show a couple years ago, the C2C, just outside of the O2 Arena there, and we took the Tube to the show, which was really funny because every Tube station, somebody will get on and they're like, oh, that guy's wearing a cowboy hat, that's weird. Next station, somebody will get on with like a fringy jacket or like boots, and next station there's a guy with a shiny belt buckle, and it's like they all got their little costumes off Amazon and they're coming to the country show. So it's pretty cool, and I like that it's growing so much there. There's going to be a real scene there. But in mainland Europe, it's all about line dancing. They like country music because they like line dancing and not the other way around. In China, we did like a Canada Day thing for expats and international students and things like that, but a lot of the people there, I don't think I'd ever heard country music before. So that was a really fun one to watch people. They're just trying to figure out what the hell are these guys doing. But Australia is kind of my country music home away from home. I've been there coming up on 4 times, and it's just like the other side of the mirror. I didn't think anyone could get more hillbilly than Canadians, but Australians, they give us a run for our money, that's for sure. Even on the east coast of Canada, it's different. All my fiddle songs do so well out there, and it's
yeah, we love our fiddles here.
Yeah, so even that was a lot of fun for me. And
on top of everything else, you also host Morning on CFCW. How does being a radio host shape your perspective on the music industry and even like you and your own artistry?
Yeah, well, I haven't quite figured that out, to be honest. I think it's more, how does my artist career affect my radio personality? That seems to be, it's new to me. I've never done radio before, and I've been at it about a year now. And luckily for me, Jackie Ray Greening is the program director, and she is like the world's ultimate host. If you've ever seen her host anything at the CCB, she's just an absolute star on a microphone. She's a weapon. So lots to learn from her about how to control a conversation and how to guide when you're talking to yourself on the radio. That's really hard. And so I feel like working with her is a real treat. And what I think they like about me is that I come from that artist perspective where I come in and I don't necessarily know what I'm doing as a radio person, but that kind of adds some charm to what I do, I think. And it's something I never thought I'd do, but it's funny with our label, Sky Song Records, it's myself and Clayton and Jason McCoy from the Roadhammers, and Jason hosts a morning show as well, and Clayton used to host a morning show. So we've all got these kind of other side of the microphone types of experiences.
You've been known to rock some bold fashion on stage.
Trying to. I don't know. I got to keep up with the kids.
We love it. Who inspires your style, and or is it all Dan Davidson originals?
Yeah, I guess it's mostly me. To be honest, it's nice that you say that because I always have such crippling self-doubt about
Oh, we love it. No, it's
photos
great.
and stuff. So, but yeah, it's always changing. I find that this record, I'm trying to lean into doing a little more country stuff. Before it's been a lot of influence from my rock and roll world, but I think that my music is just it's country. This new stuff, like it really is. I did the rock and roll vibes a lot, and I still wear that in my daily life. And then the last record, I was trying to lean into some more like 80s and mellencampy kind of stuff, and just because the last record was like that, the last record was kind of had that vibe, and so this record is more country. And I went and I got a cowboy hat. I've always just kind of ended up with a cowboy hat. I never really wear them, but now I'm like, I'm going to give it a go, and just sometimes I'm going to rock a cowboy hat and see if people laugh at me. Why not?
A bit of a fun question.
Sure.
What is the weirdest gift that a fan has given you?
That is, well, it's funny because sometimes they're weird, but they're also sweet. It's not weird in a bad way. So I'll preface my answer with that. But I've gotten, probably the weirdest thing I got was a set of doll furniture from my kid. We were in Lloydminster, and somebody homemade a couch and 2 love seats.
Oh, wow.
And I was carrying them around in my suitcase for 2 weeks. So that's a weird one. Yeah, I one time got a gold tiger medallion. I didn't know what to do with that, so it just lived in my bag for a long time. And you never know. You never know what you're going to get. I like food, though. I mean, you probably shouldn't trust food from strangers, but I like when people make me cookies and stuff.
Right?
That's nice.
Your show, Dan Sandwich, features live action and puppets, and it's very unique. What inspired you with the idea of the show, and how'd you come about adding puppets to it?
Well, the show is completely bizarre. This is another thing.
Yes, we love it.
I'm getting the sinking feeling it's going to work. So it's, my friend Travis and I, we share a studio space together, and he does all my videos, all my branding and photos and stuff, and we've just been friends for forever. We just have all these ideas. We'll just be kicking around at the studio and be like, what if we did this? And we come up with a rock and roll travel show, and we'll just make a pitch deck and put it away. And we did that with this kids show. We had this idea called Dan Sandwich, and it's the premise is me, I come home from the studio and sit at the table, I'm about to have a sandwich, and whatever triggers this little sandwich monster puppet to pipe up, and his name is Sandy Rubbin, and then we solve Sandy's problems. We go into the back of the fridge, we meet the magical fridge monsters. One of them is named Hamela Anderson. She's an 8-foot chunk of ham. So we have all these just wacky things. We come up with these ideas and we put them in a pitch deck, and then this one took off. There's a production company in town that was like, hey, I love this. You guys want to make a pilot together, and we'll just see what happens? And so we did the pilot, and we parted ways with that production company, but the pilot just got a lot of attention. So we just finished shooting half of our first season. We start again this week, actually. We're going to finish it off. Yeah. And we're going to be, we got interest from some major networks and stuff. So we're going to get it up on YouTube, hopefully by the end of the year here, get some fans, and just see what happens. It's kind of like Robot Chicken meets Yo Gabba Gabba meets Family Guy. It's meets the Muppets. So it's all stuff for the parents, really.
Yeah, 100%.
It could easily slip into a fully adult, disgusting show, but we did our best. Keep it nice in between the ditches.
Outside of your new song and video, what's next for you?
Yeah, well, I got the new single comes out July 7th, so that's a big date for me, and then that'll be followed by the video a few weeks after that. Hopefully I don't look like a goofball with my cowboy hat on. We'll see. And then after that, it's a few little shows around Canada. Nothing too crazy. Just due to the timeline that the song comes out. The summer is not really busy on the front side of things, which is kind of nice. It's nice to sit in the backyard for once in the summer.
Yeah, enjoy the sun. Yeah.
But after that, we head to Spain for a festival at the end of August, and then from there we go straight to Australia. So it's going to get busy towards the fall, and then into CCMAs is after that, and it's just full speed ahead into the winter.
Finally, call out who you think we should interview next.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give you a good Alberta artist that I think is really interesting. Okay. She's pretty new. Her name's Morgan Kleiber. She's a real rancher from southern Alberta. She is more country than I could ever hope to be. She's got She's got like this Terry Clark vibe about her, very authentic, and I would check her out. I think you'd like her.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, thank you so much, Dan, for taking the time to sit with us and chat with us. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure when it's a Dan David show or an interview. So we appreciate it.
We love
so
you.
much.
Pleasure's all mine, guys. Yeah, it's such a treat to see your faces again. Hopefully, we'll run into you before too long.
Hopefully,
Yes.
yeah.
Awesome, guys. Have a great day.
Bye, you too.
Bye.
Bye.